Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Wade into Wealth, special Powerball edition. We are recording this on Tuesday, November 8th. It is Election Day.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Powerball.
Did you vote?
I have not voted yet. I have to take, our younger daughter has an assignment to go with a parent to vote. So June and I will be going to vote.
She wasn't up at 6 o'clock this morning?
No, she wasn't. So June and I will go vote this afternoon. And then I'm happy to share my voter card on the podcast.
No, don't need that. I do remember as a kid going in the voting booth with mom and dad.
At the Genesee Country Mall.
I don't remember that part of it, but yeah, I remember going in.
I just like pulling the lever.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
shut
I
the
remember
curtain.
like there'd be a curtain and then
You'd shut the
has
curtain.
it always been on the, you fill in the bubbles and then you, or was it like a machine?
It was a machine and it had like little levers. You'd pull them down over the candidate you wanted, and then you would pull the lever back. There was a big lever at the bottom. You'd pull it back, and that would record your vote.
That's what I remember.
And that was
like
always
it was
at the
almost
mall.
like it was in a booth, but you'd close the curtain.
Close the curtain, and you'd stand there, and it was at the Genesee Country Mall.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
A dinosaur.
I
if
wasn't
ever there
dreaming
was
that
one.
up. Yeah.
No. That's how it was. I remember going too, and always thinking that was cool.
Huh.
So, it's Election Day, but we're talking more about the Powerball today. The drawing for Monday, which was last night, was delayed because it was a state that didn't get its reporting numbers. I think the numbers just came in, so we'll look at these afterwards and see. But biggest Powerball ever, $1.9 billion with a B, and that has caused a real buying frenzy. The first thing that I thought was interesting, and it's not on our notes here, so we'll deviate right at the beginning, is why the jackpots are so high all of a sudden. Do you know why?
Nope. I paid no attention to any of this.
Interest rates.
Huh.
In that.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
And now it makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
Because the Powerball, how they do it, the annuity, which is the yearly payments, 30 yearly payments, is determined by interest rates because the lottery is investing this money, and they're investing mainly in treasury securities, determined by interest rates. Higher interest rates, higher annuity payouts because they can invest the money and get a higher return. So higher interest rates, not all bad if you win the Powerball.
Or if you're investing in
or if you're investing in interest-bearing securities.
Yeah.
There can be a benefit there as well.
Yep.
So the lump sum, $1.9 billion, or the annuities, $1.9 billion. If you take the lump sum, which nobody's taken since 2014, you don't get quite that much.
You mean no one's taking the annuity?
No one's taking the annuity. What did I say?
The lump sum.
Nobody has taken the annuity since 2014. Everyone has taken the lump sum.
So why do you get the smaller amount for the lump sum? Because they say that it's essentially just a time value of money calculation.
Right.
We have to give you this in order to make you whole for if we give you these payments. You can invest that money and generate a return off of it that would give you or the same amount at the end of a 30-year period of time. But then you got taxes. Well, there's taxes everywhere.
Yeah.
There's taxes on the annuity. There's taxes on the lump sum. Doesn't really matter. But the lump sum would whittle itself down from $1.9 billion.
It's $1 billion
to
less.
just under $1 billion.
You give up $1 billion, which sounds crazy.
But you still get $1 billion. So
before taxes.
Yeah, right.
Before the tax calculation. So, and it's also, this is what I didn't know because I have not played the lottery a ton. Aside from
you haven't?
Aside from today and the scratch offs.
Figured you to be a serial lottery player.
No, the odds are not in our favor, so I'd prefer to play with the odds. The annuity's paid out over 30 years. It's also not necessarily paid out in equal installments. It increases by 5% every year, so you are receiving a smaller payment up front. So that's also a consideration as well. How long do you anticipate living? It's kind of like Social Security in that regard. It's
exactly like
if we all knew when our timeline went to zero, these decisions would be a lot easier to make.
I think the biggest equivalent, and this is for retirees, when I think of like folks who have retired from Kodak or from Xerox, where you have the option of you can have a pension from the company or they will give you the lump sum.
Right.
That's the exact same choice when it comes to lottery. And it ultimately comes down to your point, what's your health?
Right.
What does your longevity look like? What's your hereditary? Is that the word?
Yeah, right. No.
What do your jeans look like? Not your denim
not
jeans.
Not the denims,
but,
not your dungarees.
Yeah, the jeans you were born with. and make a decision from there. Because
Right.
if you think that you have a very high likelihood of living more than 30 years, well, you're going to get a lot more money paid to you
Right.
in the annuity, but that ignores if you take that lump sum amount and invest it and generate a return
Right.
off of it going, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and so interesting about the annuity, we both read the same thing this morning. Mark Cuban said anyone under the age of 40, if they win, should, Mark Cuban, investor, owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Mark Cuban and
Shark
Kevin
Tank.
O'Leary from Shark Tank.
He was saying that if you're under 40, you should take the annuity payment because you're likely to live longer. The other interesting point with that is when you look at the data of lottery winners that go broke, it
This
is
is mind-blowing.
astounding.
Although it's not, it shouldn't be mind-blowing. It's, yeah.
No, it shouldn't, because all of a sudden you've got all these friends and people coming out of the woodwork and investors, people with investment ideas and opportunities. And so nearly 70% of lottery winners, according to a study by the National Endowment for Financial Education, are broke within a few years. The odds of you going broke are a lot less if your payout is split over 30 years. You can't necessarily, well, I guess you can spend what you don't have. It's called credit cards.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it is more difficult to spend it within a few years if you're getting it over 30.
70%.
Yeah.
Almost 3/4 of the people who win the lottery use up that, which
If you think about the amount of upheaval that comes into someone's life,
well, and let's go through the calculation as well, because let's talk about what you actually get.
let's back up
off
to
of it.
taxes, because
Right.
the real winner in the lottery is the tax man.
Yeah. Sure.
Governments, because here's what happens. You win the lump sum, 24% federal tax comes off the top immediately.
Yeah, but you're going to be in the highest tax bracket, which is 37%.
37%. And then if you look at your state, now in the great state of New York, you're paying 11%.
Yeah, if
in
you're in
state
Florida, you're paying
taxes.
0.
So the difference, if you're a Florida resident versus being a New York resident and you take the lump sum,
$100 million.
is $82 million more you would keep in Florida versus
I was
living in
doing the
New York.
math off of yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I just did the math because I put this together.
That's
so I
right.
knew.
Yeah, thank you.
$80 million if you live in Texas or Florida or a state.
I
with
would
no
take
state
that.
income
I
tax.
would just take that. Never mind.
Absolutely.
You can keep the other
Right.
900 million. I'll take the 80.
So when you get down to it, if you're a New York resident and you win the Powerball, $1.9 billion, your take home with a lump sum is a paltry $506 million.
Because it drops from, if you take the lump sum, you're getting a little more than 900 million.
Right.
And then you're paying basically 50% in
Basically
taxes
half in
to it.
taxes.
So
Right.
you're going to retain 450, 500 million. Still not bad.
No, but
Not
when you
bad.
stop and think about it, people think, "Oh, I could never spend my money." When
Oh,
all
you
of a
sure
sudden,
can. You
when
absolutely
everything
can.
is changed, and you don't know what to do. One, you have voices coming at you from all
Yep.
over, and people want to help. Most people want to help. You want to take care of the people around you and people closest. But what then often happens is you don't realize how fast these purchases add up, or investments that someone comes to you with. Well, what is the likelihood of that investment paying off? Because the reality is, what people should be thinking about is, what is the concept of enough? In general, you should be able to take that $500 million and just put it in the bank and be okay for the rest of you. You should be.
Well, I'm just trying to think. If you generated 3% just in interest off of it, that'd be 1.5 million a year.
Off of $500 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Let's
doing
see.
the math.
Well, I'll
in
tell
my
you
head.
what. I have a calculator. Let's all right, calculations.
Well, no,
are
500
live.
million, 10% would be 50 million. So
Yeah, but what about
5%
three?
would be 25 million. So
I'm
3%
saying three,
would
yeah.
be like
no,
18 million.
15 million.
Right.
Wow, my math was
You're
so
off
wrong.
by
I forgot a
decimal.
zero.
You know what's impressive there is I did the math in
Look
my
at
head
you.
for once
Look at
and was
you.
closer to being correct.
Look
So
at
let's
that.
say $15 million
just
a year.
3%. So you can
Right.
get, that's in short-term, very conservative type of investments. You take that money, you get 3% on average each year off of it. That's $15 million for you to go
Yeah.
spend. You're not even touching the other 500 million.
Yeah. Fun hypotheticals to play, but the reality is when you look at the rates of people going,
Man, I'm so off.
you were,
so wrong.
that will eat at you all day.
Oh,
Knowing you will
yeah.
let that eat at you.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very sad when you look at the rates of people that go bankrupt. The suicide rates amongst winners of large lottery drawings are significantly higher than that of the general population. There are many case studies of this happening where it's not nearly the blessing that we all think it is.
Yeah.
But some things to consider.
There've
Look,
been some documentaries on that, I think.
Yeah, there have, and there's books on it, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of research about it. And, no one story is the truth or the norm for everyone. But the reality is there is such a massive upheaval to someone's life
Oh, yeah.
and change that people may not be ready for. And so typically the first thing someone should do is take a deep breath after you're done celebrating.
Confirm the numbers.
Confirm the numbers.
About 5-10 times.
Would then be to find a team of people around you that you trust.
And you said it right. You need a team.
You need a team. You should have a financial planner. You should have an attorney. You should have an accountant. And you should, and someone, I heard this, they said it should not be someone in your town or that you know.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be someone in your family circle.
Right.
You need someone who's going to be able to give you,
Right.
I mean, anytime, whether you're a lottery winner or you're just looking for retirement, when you're putting together a team, you need those team members to be able to give you unbiased advice.
Right.
You need them to give you perspective. You need them to be that coach for you, and whoever can do that, you need unbiased advice more than anything.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. It's the one time when we kind of all play the game of, oh, here's what I would do with that. But the concept of
so funny because everyone's so optimistic with
but that's just psychology.
Yeah,
Think
right.
about it. Think about it with an investment. When
Look,
you,
I
when,
even put my elbow on the
well,
table here,
right,
getting comfortable.
Think about it because you're already counting your winnings. Although I don't believe
I
you
didn't-
bought
no, I
a
didn't-
ticket,
I didn't
and
buy a ticket.
I'm not sharing. If you stop and think about it, even with investments, when someone makes an investment, very often they see the upside.
Yeah, right.
They don't invest because they're thinking, oh, I'm expecting this to go down. They see the upside. They see the possibilities. That's why so often we feel so good about an investment or something we've done right after it. The reality is, if you look at the odds, I think the odds of winning this are like 1 in 300 million. All right, so they're not great.
Yeah, no.
They're not great. But we start
That's
to...
an accurate description. Yeah, they're not great.
And my friends and I, when we were out of town and bought these, we were joking like, oh, here's all the things we'll do with it. The reality is, it's fun to play this game.
I'm not familiar with how it works. Do you when it resets? Are the odds better because less people are playing,
I don't know.
or is it just the same
Probably,
odds every
maybe.
time because it's based off of a
Well,
finite amount
well,
of
no,
numbers?
the odds of winning are the same because it's the same pool of numbers
Right,
they're
yeah,
pulling from.
yep.
So this is interesting though. I was mentioning this before. John Carroll, who's a friend of the podcast, we had him on several weeks ago, was talking with this weekend. He goes, if you don't want to share, now the odds of sharing your payout are greater, likely now because
Yeah.
more people are
Yeah,
playing.
yeah, sure.
So I don't
Yep.
think the odds of winning the Powerball are
No,
different.
it's based
but
on
the
this-
odds
the
of
numbers,
sharing
yeah.
it are different. And he said, here's a strategy. If you want better odds of not having to share the Powerball,
not to win, but to not
to share. If
it.
you want to
Yeah.
share it with fewer people, you should not be picking a number below 31. I said, why is that? And he goes, people play dates. They play dates. They play anniversaries. They play birthdays. They play their
Yeah.
kids' birthdays. Those are all numbers lower than 31. So we said, don't play anything below 31. But if you have to, don't play a 3 or a 7 because those are two lucky numbers. Very few. Everyone picks 7. 7 and 3 are considered. Then they are. Those are lucky numbers in many circles. And so he said, don't pick 7 or 3 and anything under 31 if you want higher odds of having to share the payout. Look, I mean, good problem to have, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting though because you think a lot of people do play dates, but I wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together to think.
I just walked in and said,
yeah.
I need.
Did they give you random numbers?
Yeah, I
Is that
just
what it
said I
was?
need 13 Powerball tickets, and
Yeah.
they gave me a random number. So, I mean, this one, better odds of sharing, 12, 14, 18, 2, 18, 31. I mean, I'm not.
We'll save everyone time. We're not going to go through all of them.
We'll not go through them. We got to finish this up so I can see if we won.
That's right.
Doubtful. I will likely be here tomorrow to continue with my job.
So here's a good question.
Yeah.
If you won that,
Mhm.
would you stop working?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No.
I may lessen some responsibility.
Maybe lighten the load, but I
yeah,
enjoy this. I enjoy what we do.
I don't think I would
enjoy
stop.
coming to work. I think the other thing is too, wanting to have a purpose.
Yeah.
And this job gives me, I find purpose in doing this job and doing
Mhm.
this work.
Yeah.
And so would I maybe pull back and say, Ethan, I'm going to be in 3 days a week? Maybe.
It's all right.
I don't
You're just
know.
required to invest that money with us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think I would just up and stop. Here's another interesting thought, and then we can wrap this up as we're getting to the 15-minute mark. A friend of mine put it like this, is that having money just accelerates who you are. If you're a good person, if you're a charitable person, if you're someone who likes to help others, often having money allows those people accelerate doing that. They do more of that. But if you're a jerk, if you're someone who maybe isn't necessarily kind to other people, takes advantage of people, it often accelerates that as well. And I thought that was a good way of putting it, is that having money doesn't solve all your problems. In a lot of ways, it created more problems for a lot of people that have won the lottery. But it also essentially just accelerates who people are at their core, or allows them to be more of that, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
Well, look, the numbers are in. Wishing you all the very best. And that's it. That's the Powerball. Lottery's fascinating. I think we should do something else on the... we should continue this at some point, the idea of the lottery as an actual tax on people who get addicted to playing it.
Yeah.
A lot of data behind that as well.
That's right.
So we do appreciate you being with us and continuing this journey to financial wealth. If you do happen to win the Powerball, we are located at 1703 Monroe Avenue in Rochester, New York, 14618. eWade at BrightonSecurities.com or CWade at BrightonSecurities.com. We would be happy to have a conversation with you. And even if you didn't win the Powerball, the same goes for you.
That's right.
We'll be back next week.